There are over 7 billion people on Earth and more than 1 million schools, and of them all, this is the biggest schoolboy derby, the biggest inter-schools match on Earth. Paarl Boys High versus Paarl Gimnasium at Faure Street. The main strip of Paarl is still and the roads are silent, and those shops still open are manned by skeleton crew craning their necks to small televisions. The rest of Paarl is here. 25,000 people pile in and press upon one another to watch a game which means to them, and more than them, the 30 young men playing for perhaps the final time in inter-schools, everything in the whole world. The air is close with the sound and fury of thousands of voices of schoolgirl songs and schoolboys' war cries, of drums and guitars, of passion and laughter and anxiety. The aisle is full of noises. It is a tempest. Dark clouds blot the sky and it is sputtering rain, and apparently it's cold, but the energy here speaks otherwise. And the same wind which has blown over the past 101 encounters now blows over us all. There's a wind that comes with a hint of farmlands and a scent of the ocean, and a wind that has overseen victory and defeat and all manner of endeavor in this same venue. It is the same wind, the same venue, the same schools, but everything is different. Everything is unique. The story we tell today is of a school undefeated for 3 years, invincible until now, their 150th year. And after a tricky season, Paarl Boys have a shot at redemption, a chance to make it all well once before Sean Erasmus leaves. But north of the wall, Paarl Gimnasium, one of the great schools of rugby in South Africa, reeling after 3 successive inter-school defeats, aim to regain control of Paarl. The town is divided. The trees and even the donuts are either Boys High or Gimmies. The churches have chosen schools. The only non-partisans in the stadium today are the referees and the commentators. Who are you choosing? And as we look at the faces of the young men and you listen to the noises, I ask you, what is going on in their minds? What are they feeling? Gareth Wright, you've called this match before. What's happening inside the heads of these young men?
Well, thanks, Anton. There'll be a lot of nerves, a lot of energy, a lot of butterflies, and wonderful traditions being played out here at the Faure Street Stadium between these two exclusive schools in Paarl, as they go through their various war cries before kick-off. Of course, you'll be having a look at the loose forward battle. Who will decide today's encounter. Wilson, Siebert and Nivert up against Postumus, Horn and Roos will be the crucial one that will decide this fixture. The 102nd playing of this premier, of this inter-schools between Paarl Boys and Paarl Gimnasium. Well, there you see their recent results. Of course, Paarl Boys getting a win last week over Sachs, 25-10. However, they suffered at the hands of Oakdale, and they've lost on 4 separate occasions this year to Paarl Roos, Grey and the Jaguars, respectively. As for their visitors down the drag, Paarl Gimnasium, they are 15 from 16 with their solitary loss to Paarl Roos in a 32-13 defeat earlier this year. Paarl Boys have 6 positional changes in their backline since that fixture against Paarl Roos when they were put to the sword, 44 points to 8, and they have 4 changes overall in a side that is desperate to continue their winning reign over their visitors. For Paarl Gym, well, they last tasted success in 2014 and they'll want to rectify the wrongs of the last 3 years. They comprehensively thrashed Bishops last week, 52-27, and look out for their captain, David Kellerman, a man who was desperately unlucky not to be included in that SA Schools side, a representative of the SA Under-18 Sevens, as we see Kellerman introducing his troops to both sets of headmasters, Derek Swart from Paarl Boys and Eddie Bateman from Paarl Gimnasium. And they will shake hands with both outfits. But today's encounter is more than just shaking hands. It's about pride and passion. And one feels that Paarl Gym have all the artillery to knock over Paarl Boys and win this one for the first time in many a year.
Pride and passion aplenty. Both these schools come together to work in synergy and create an event which is unrivaled across the planet. There have been jets, there are bands, there are dancing girls, there were performances before the match began, and there are still balloons to be released. The message and the ethos always spoken about from the headmasters is that it, more than winning or losing, is about the spirit the young men conduct themselves in and the way in which they play this game. And this is their last, for most of them, the matrics, last schoolboy game.
We see the captain of Paarl Boys, Adrian Alberts, just introducing Eddie Bateman to his troops. Of course, Alberts represented the Western Province Craven Week side with aplomb. He captained them, and he's found his way into the SA School side along with Ivan Roos, the big number at 1.96 meters. So watch out for him.
And when we consider the teams, there is a wealth of talent in both sides. The two teams of Paarl, starting with Paarl Gimnasium. Tian Swanepoel is a try-scoring machine. Stravino Jacobs, born and raised in Paarl, a man marrying strength and speed. Bobby Alexander played Craven Week. John Wilson, exceptional skill set. Nieuwhout, a very strong player. And Jovan Becker. Trent Siverston, a mercurial player who can play anywhere. Carlo Ace, I'll be leaning on the wing as well. Estienne van Rensburg, the man tasked with marshalling the back line. And perhaps Paarl Boys' strength lay in the forwards. Evan Roos, a young man of exceptional athletic ability. Lowenhorn is very fast. Kuni Bester, a very strong young man. And Adrian Alberts, the man they call Captain Arnie. Look out for him. And have you ever seen anything like this? What a spectacle.
Well, passionate singing from Paarl Gimnasium's supporters and players alike. And now it'll be the turn of Paarl Boys in the blue and white strip to hear their voices here at Faure Street.
Wow. There you have it. You may have noticed the Paarl boys high a bit deeper. They don't have the girls' school as part of them. Paarl Gimnasium, a co-educational school. Paarl boys assisted by their sister school.
As the balloons get let off, you'll see now Paarl Gimnasium, they save their haka for Interschools as they start.
And Paarl Gym have conducted their haka. Beautiful balloons going into that blue sky. JD Jadazweni will be officiating this afternoon. And the head of sport, Richard Fasachi of Paarl Boys, said it's probably tougher on the referee than it is on the young men.
Just some conditions on the field. There'll be a slight breeze behind the backs of Paarl Gimnasium, who are playing from right to left in the yellow, green and maroon strip. In fact, they've swapped over, and it'll be at the backs of Paarl Boys as the balloons float off into the afternoon sky. And it'll be Paarl Boys High who will get us underway through their flav. And Estienne van Rensburg, who played against Paul Ruiz in the scrum off position. So a big ask for the young man who fills in the pivot position up against Charles Jansen, who was simply sublime against Motaniqua 2 weekends ago. However, all that goes out the window, and it is now 70 minutes that separates these two schools.
And this is Interschools. Come on, brilliant take from Bjerkes.
Taken out in the air.
Oh, what a start by Jovan Bjerkes. Taken out in the air. He's had the presence of mind hanging onto the ball. It was David Volata who got in under him. And he's pretty lucky to find himself still on the field if he's taking his legs from under Bjerkes. And it's a missed touch early on from Paarl Gym.
Doesn't find touch. Now the counter-attack from Paarl Gym, and you saw Jean Wilson involved in the defense there. We mentioned him. Oof. And I believe it's Kunny Bester. Carstens, Van Rensburg, stabbed over. And he's overcooked it.
Oh, the worst possible minute to start for Paarl Boys. They've given away a penalty from the restart. Their counter-attack has been nullified, and then their flaw in the form of Van Rensburg has hoiked it straight into touch. And he's given Gimnasium an early opportunity to set up play. Now they lose forwards on midfield. You can bet your bottom dollar they'll be looking to hit either Siebert or Wilson to try to track it up, and this 5-man line out on the 10-meter line of Paarl Boys.
Van Heerden. Evan Ruiz is a 100-meter athlete, signed to go to the Sharks next year. Originally from Uffies before Paarl Boys. Now put over the top. The chase is good. Stravino Jacobs is a star in the recent Craven Week played at Paarl Boys, and now a penalty for Jim.
And again, it's David Volata. Just flopped over, not rolling away quick enough. And a fourth mistake from those in blue and white is not aiding their cause, as Khamiz will look to carve off some territory down the grandstand touchline. Now their first line-out went awry, as we see David Volata at the breakdown, not rolling away quick enough, hence the penalty going the way of Gimnasium.
Bjerkes wrestles for it, comes out with the ball. Bobby Alexander, nicknamed Bobby Child, feeds it to Nivot. Alexander, Siebert, held up by the Paarl Boys captain. Still roping right. Now Kellerman. Most dangerous man perhaps on the field. Alexander.
Blue 10 offside.
Bjerkes. Alexander feeds it to Becker. Grade 11 came to the school last year. Now a little dive, a little dart from Bobby Alexander. He's scraggled, presents it back. Tian Swanepoel comes in lieu of a scrum half. Good hands from Becker. Kellerman, taken by the ankles by Kuenhorn.
Number 10 offside. Number 10.
Well, penalty going the way of Gimnasium, and for offside play, they've decided to turn the 3 down at goal, and it'll be a fly of Paarl Jansen, who'll be looking to find touch, and he's done so magnificently on the 5-meter line. Strong run from Kellerman. Estienne van Rensburg was the man who was penalised for offside play, and it's handed Gimmies an opportunity. Now you can bet that Bjerkes will be the talisman at line-out time. They'll look to set them all and try to rumble it over with Nibot from 5 out.
Faure Hanekom sends it to the front. Now quickly bulleted out. Kellerman again. Alexander. Battering ram, Rugby used by him. Alexander. De Toy. Dummy from Jansen. Still send it blind. Bjerkes. De Toy. Jacobs. Here the goal screaming from Gim. Boys playing right in front of their school. Good presentation back. Alexander sends it left. Great line from Shavino Jacobs. 2 meters out now. Siebert. Just short. Through the hands, Jansen. Kellerman dots it down with control. Gim strike the first blow.
Oh, what a line from David Kellerman, and he's drawn first blood as the Paarl Gimnasium captain after tremendous pressure from Gimmies. The line pick from Kellerman was a sublime one, got through 2 would-be defenders, and he's in for the opening score. The SA Under-18 Sevens representative. Brilliant finishing from David Kellerman, and close to the uprights. He's provided a relatively simple opportunity for Jansen to add the extras. Just the start Gimmies would have wanted.
Charles Jansen to extend Gim's lead to 7 points. Does it!
Well, constant pressure, patience with inside the 22-meter area of Paarl Boys has yielded 7 points for Gimmies, and as the defenders flew off the back of Kellerman, he's in for the opener, and Gimmies hit the front by 7-0.
Van Rensburg sends a deep drop kick straight to Pierre Siebert. Together with his brother Henry on the bench, they call the Priska brothers, hailing from the town in the Northern Cape on the Orange River.
Well, another penalty going the way of Gimmies. The discipline of Paarl Boys is letting them down horribly at this stage. Now, tackler not releasing. It was Siebert who knocked it backwards, and Jansen has found touch close to the halfway line. Albert's remonstrating with the referee, but his call is not going to be heard by referee Jarazweni. This time Evan Roos is off his feet, and horrible discipline. Now, look at that, after 7.5 minutes, 4 penalties have been conceded by Paarl Boys. Hence they are unable to get into this contest.
Juggled, but Gimmies retained possession. Alexander works it to the big men. Jean Bjerkes, they call him Trade because he bumps everyone out the way. Now, Jansen, Kellerman, into space. Taken down. Such calmness from Alexander. Well, it's too calm. It's a strong counter-ruck from Paarl Boys. Earns them.
Oh, wonderful counter-rucking from Volata, but Bobby Alexander is far too slow to clear that ball from the base. Another break from Kellerman, tackled in the gap, and then look at Alexander. He needs to get that ball in and out. However, his persistence in trying to organise his pack has led to Paarl Boys counter-rucking, and at the forefront of that counter-ruck was Lorne Horn. Pack weights pretty much even Stevens, 20 or 25 or so kilograms in favour of Paarl Gimnasium. However, both these sides have strong scrummaging front rows. And that Paarl Boys front row, Robert Bester tips the scales at a meagre 125 kilograms, Anton.
And he can get around the park as well, I'll tell you that much. 125, what a unit.
They've brought their right winger, Carl across, and he's in behind Van Rensburg. You just wonder if they'll bring a block runner into midfield.
Van Rensburg, inside line. Noeg Hayward, he was injured versus Grey last year, only recently returned to playing.
Stapling.
Oh, Dean Nivert, he got himself into a favourable position, and then unfortunately his hands went past the ball and came back. Hence the penalty going the way of Paarl Boys for stapling. Strong run from Hayward. Look at Nivert, he's in a good position, but his hands have gone past, and he has conceded a penalty in a kickable position now for Boys High. And it is Trent Sivertson who will look to pull 3 back for the Paarl Boys. Relatively still little wind to speak of. Perfect kicking conditions. Now it's just whether Sivertson's got the temperament to bisect the uprights.
40 meters out at sea level. Strikes it well. Gets the direction and the 3 points. Boys High return fire. Charles Janssen, the top point scorer at Western Province's Academy Week, restarts. Carstens gives it to the captain. He's played 2 years in the first team and 2 years Craven Week. Has Albert now through the hands, then put to boot. Some dangerous men waiting below it. Tian Swanepoel sends it back. Not as far, and it's well taken by Sivertson. Carstens. Van Rensburg can play 9 as well, showing his wares. Carstens again. Van Rensburg to boot. It's not a bad kick. Now Janssen in control. Returns. Beneath it is Carstens, nicknamed Chihuahua. Does some great stepping. And eventually is pushed back by Bobby Alexander. Deft over the top kick.
Well, Anton, their tactic is clear from Paarl Boys. They don't want to play any rugby in their own half. And through the boot of Carstens and Van Rensburg, they've managed to find a large portion of open territory behind Paarl Gimnasium. And it'll be Gimmies to feed the line-out now. The hooker in Van Eden Hanekom has battled at line-out time. Some scrappy ball for Alexander. Needs to try and get a clean feed here. And he does so.
Sivert takes it, goes down with it. The ball set up. Hanekom in control now. He broke his ankle And the build-up of Vulde Klaver, and has recently returned to playing.
Number 1.
Well, again, it's David Volata who's been penalised for collapsing the maul. That's his 3rd penalty in 13 minutes. He needs to be careful, does the loose head of Paarl boys. He might just bear the wrath of Mr. Jadazweni's voice and pocket if he carries on like that. Great maul set up by Khamis, powering through. Paarl boys high, fractured in front of them, and then the illegal sack coming in.
Hanakorma over the top, hasn't found his man. Oh, ho! Hello. Now, Adrian Alberts through. Paarl boys not willing to relinquish their unbeaten title in this fixture for the past 3 years. Esten van Rensburg. Karsten. Rus. Through the hands, lovely. Carlo Ace. Just taken by the ankles by Swanepoel. Rus now. Twirling his way towards the try line. Eventually stopped, he presents it back. Janssen. Getting his troops. Another pick and go.
Penalty advantage for offside.
Carstens. Oh! Just rather Volata. But
Offside.
Well, penalty going the way of Paarl boys. Some scintillating attack down that grandstand touchline just in front of the Paarl boys supporters as Van Rensburg's decided to put it into touch. And they'll be looking to move it from close quarters. Well, Paarl boys just offside play from Khamis in the pillar position, but it was a good run from Carlo Ace who got them into this position.
lineout has been taken. Paarl boys. Van Rensburg. Horn. Almost burst through. Quickly worked out. Carstens. The dummy sold.
No, leave it.
Change of direction. Van Rensburg. Bester. Carstens. And no try.
Prepare yourself.
Double movement. Paarl Gym get to breathe as Carstens through an outrageous dummy everybody bought, and then the double movement, and hence the penalty going the way of Khamis. Khamis inside their 22, not committing numbers to the breakdown as Janssen finds touch just outside the 22-meter area, but Carstens threw it. He thought he was in for money, went to ground, and the double movement hence being penalised.
Well, Carsten's facial expressions to the referee suggest he thought he had scored the try. Now Siebert. Rolling maul. Last year Paarl Gim's rolling mauls were particularly effective. Almost won them the match in the last play. Didn't work out for them in the line out. And now a turnover. Boys high.
I've got in amongst them have Paarl boys, in particular their captain Albert, and he suffocated the onslaught from Khamis at line out time. He's won his side a turnover. And just for me in back shot, Paarl boys are incredibly deep from the scrum. Their fullback is standing on the 10-meter line of their own half.
Carstens. Van Rensburg. Carstens again. Long pass. Horn slips.
And there you see it, Anton. If your attack is too deep and the defense gets off the line, they make a positive hit. Not only do they win the territorial battle, they win the turnover. Siverston went to ground. Slightest of knock-ons comes in. Passes the ball against Horn's head. And it is scrum advantage to Gimmies. A nice blind side to peruse with here for Bobby Alexander. If his tight end in the form of Jovan Becker can get a right shoulder.
Bind. Sit.
Big push from Boys High. Alexander, Janssen, over the top, good chase from Kellerman. Oh, collisions in the centre field. Boys High in possession. Horn. Sent far back, Van Rensburg.
Knock an advantage over. Good work.
Straight down the neck of Gim. And it was Wilson, I believe. And now a penalty for Gimmies.
Right from your fine. He's not. 6.
Well, it's clear and obvious. It's cynical play by Paarl Boys right in front of referee Jadazweni.
You're number 6. Second man in.
The second man in.
Starting to become a trend now. All right, we need to sort it out. Can I have a word quickly? Yeah, have a word with him quickly.
That's a good thump from Jansen as he's taking play up towards that Paarl Boys 22-meter line. Good run by Wilson. Strong carry back, and then penalty coming against Horn as he was from the side and the second man in.
Van Eden, Hannekom works it in, and lineouts have been a problem for Gimmies today. Boys High, now in possession. Carstens. Oof. There's a high arm there.
High tackle. Number 5. High. Around the neck.
Well, wrapped around the neck. Dangerous tackle from Bierkes. And that sort of alleviates some pressure for Paarl Boys.
Let's go.
And they'll give it to Kuhn Horn, who's got the left foot. A large part of the game has been played in the middle of the field. Just the arm being wrapped around Robert Bester's neck from the Cravenwick lock. And Johan Bierkes.
Stolen now. Gimmies redeeming themselves in the lineouts.
There's a rock.
It's a bet it was. Alexander, Janssen. Big contact, Nieuwhout.
Turnover's good.
Nieuwhout, the son of celebrated singer Hugo Nieuwhout. And now turnover. Boys High. Alberts needs some strong defense.
Get no more now. 6. No.
Carstens changed direction twice there. Now good hands from Bester. Van Rensburg. Roos. Hayward throws it wayward.
Well, they're creating space out wide of Paarl Boys. It's just their handling that's letting them down. And Paarl Gimnasium are too tight around the rucks. One pass is beating 4 defenders, hence the space from Hayward and co. And this time it was Sivertson looking to come back on a hard line. Unfortunately, the pass didn't go to hand. And it's yet another turnover for Paarl Boys. Look at that possession stats. Well, pretty much even Stevens. 48 for Gimmies to 52 of Boys High. And territory, well, as I mentioned, a large part of it being played in between the two 10-meter lines.
4 points, all that's in it. 22 meters, 22 minutes in. Now Gimmies working it through the hands. Such pace from Swanepoel. He's a very good athlete as well, unsurprisingly. Wilson, who is a scratch golfer and a Boerland cricketer. Bierkes, it's his opposite, number 5. And Alberts has wrestled possession, but illegally so.
Knee on the ground, tackle pull. Knee on the ground.
Well, his communication is clear. Referee Jadazweni called the tackle. The knee was on the ground. Alberts continued to fight for the ball.
Captain, I understand with that one you couldn't hear me, but I did call a tackle. His knee did hit that ground. All right.
And again, every time Paarl boys get a bit of momentum, their discipline has let them down. Through the hands, Bjarkas running into his Cravenwick opposite man. And the captain Alberts, his knees are clearly on the ground, and they continued the fight. Hence the penalty going the way of Gimmies.
Line out works for Gim, quickly out. Alexander. Jacobs. Recycled. Sent to the back line. Kellerman, as we've seen so many times already, breaks the line, changes direction, straightens up now, an inside line. Preben Verleerden. Alexander, Kellerman. Hanekom, nicknamed Cheddar Malt. Not after the burger, but because his brother is called Cheddar. Now, Janssen, it's gone, spilled backwards, however.
And you just feel that Gimmies are contrasting styles on attack to Boys High. They look bereft of ideas with ball in hand. They can't seem to conjure up anything in the wider channels. And if Kellerman doesn't truck it up, it's left to one of their big forwards to hit a hard line and set a target. You just need a little bit more variation in terms of their attack. And I'm sure it will yield points for Gimmies.
And the golden light of Paarl. Casting onto the scrum as Carstens gives it out to Van Rensburg. The kick coming in. Horn sending it, allowed to bounce once before Swanepoel puts it to his boot. So gain for Boys High as Van Rensburg chips it ahead. Jacobs now, he's got a big boot on him. Well taken. This is a game of rugby. Carlo Ace grew up with 4 older brothers and played rugby a lot in the backyard, and that's how he loved his love of the game. And that was a big hit as well. Van Rensburg. And as my colleague pointed out, Paarl Boys High decided they won't be running it much out of their half, opting to kick it a lot. Carstens. Van Rensburg. Janssen with time. Swanepoel. Dummies and runs into Lowenhorn, the cousin of Kuenhorn. Alexander. Janssen. Kellerman. Ripped, stolen. This is trouble. Javier Faure plows into the green.
Well, just the riposte Paarl boys would have wanted, and it's Javier Faure who's come up with the goods, but it was his centre mate in New Hayward who ripped the ball from the clutches of Kellerman. Brilliant work by the inside centre of Paarl boys, stripped it, and he fed Faure, who had enough pace to burn the Gimmies defenders on the outside, and he's got in for a 5-pointer close to the uprights. Great work by the inside centre Hayward, and then the finishing from Faure. Sivertson will now try and see if he can add the extras.
Sivertson adjusting the socks. As big a kick as he's had in his schoolboy rugby career. Listen to the stillness of Forest Street. He's done it. 10-7, Boys High to Gimmies.
Carriage in contact from Kellerman was just too upright. Stripped in the tackle from Hayward. Fed Faure, and it was shut the stable door as he canted in for a 7-pointer. And with 7 minutes to go till half-time, this game has ignited into a real contest now. 10 plays 7 in the favour of those wearing blue and white hoops.
Janssen. Horn. Carstens casts it back to Van Rensburg. He puts it to his right boot. Running onto it. Whoa! Yikes. Jean Wilson it was. It's been first team cricket since grade 9. Skills to go with that size. Bierkus. Kellerman! Duffy Kellerman throws the pass! Heinz Strauss managed to get hold of it. Boys high. Lost to touch the ball before it went out.
Well, a scything break from Kellerman. He just needed one of the wingers in Strauss or Swanepoel at fullback to run a hard line off his shoulder. He fed it to Heinz Strauss, who was flying on the outside. However, it went awry and it's been bundled over the outline. However, it is still Khamiz on attack inside that boys high 22.
Worked out quickly. Niebout. Kellerman. Alexander. Hanekom. Distinct with his blonde hair. Now Janssen. Detroit. Push backwards. Khum looking for ways through on the attack. Mark Etzebeth, the cousin of once captain of South Africa, Yemen Etzebeth. Bullet pass out, well taken by Verleiden. It's none other than the boys high captain who racks him up. They've got advantage to Khamiz. Bobby Alexander. Now Shavino Jacobs comes into the scrum up position. Hanekom works it out, Bierkus. The train bumps off a few more. Jacobs, pick and go. He's gonna have to hold on to that ball well. Boys high, fighting for it. Bobby Alexander, nonetheless, has his hands on it. Gives it to Janssen, loses control of it. But no matter.
Well, I think now referee Charles Rennie has had enough. He may be going to his pocket.
There's been numerous penalties, and he just went in there off his feet, killed the ball. He's going to the bin.
And he can't complain about that. Can Simon Carstens. It is yet another penalty conceded by Paarl Boys in a very kickable position now for Khamiz, who are turning down the 3 points and will look to try add 5 or 7. Carriage was strong from Verleiden, and then it was another run from Alexander. Then have a look at Carstens, he just flops over it. Well, Anton, I'm a real believer in tight games. You take your points on offer, and their lineouts have been iffy at best for Gimnasium. Another one that's gone south for them, and it's a turnover of possessions now. What do Paarl Boys do? They'll have to shift Van Rensburg into the scrum half position, which he's pretty accustomed to playing at. As we see the penalty stat, 9 against 3 from Khamiz. Certainly discipline will form a large part of that halftime chat from the Paarl Boys coaching quartet.
Just to go back to that decision, Janssen's been so good with the boot. We've almost been a guaranteed 3 points. Van Rensburg played both scrum half and fly half there and cleared.
My argument with taking the 3 on offer is that you level it up at 10 all. You receive the kickoff, you're back in the opposition half, now by trying to maul it over, you've lost the ascendancy having thrown it in skew. You've wasted time for the fact that Carstens is in the bin. And you will be cognizant of the sands of time running away before half-time and the fact that he may come back onto the field.
Pierre Sibet, now Darby Kellerman. It's a bit. He's starting to warm up. It's a bit. Bierkus, his fellow lock. Janssen lifts up, dumped onto the floor unceremoniously. Rugby still pushing, but they've lost possession. And the clearance comes. How will Boys High hold with only 14 men for the next 8 minutes? A goose step and a charge from Swanepoel. Alexander scraggled. I'll tell you, when that yellow card was given, at least 10,000 spectators were silent. Big hit from Cullen van der Merwe, son of Kobus van der Merwe, who played and also coached Western Province. Janssen, Bierkus.
Well, Seven Ross, who's managed to win that at the breakdown for his side. And with 20 seconds to play in the first half, Paarl Boys will be happy to slow it down and find the sanctity of the touchline. Just somehow find that Gimmies needed to put in an attacking kick due to the fact that that nine's not there. He won't be covering behind that first line of defense, as that's a well-found touch finder from Kieran Horn. Run by Bierkus. Good body position from Roos, and he won himself and his side the penalty.
Van Eden. Van Rensburg. Hayward. Alberts. Van Rensburg now kicks it over. You'll hope that bounces infield. It does. Great kick from him.
Well, intelligent play by the would-be scrum half Estienne van Rensburg, as he found touch, and half-time has been blown down here at Faure Street, as it is Paarl Boys who have all the ascendancy in this 102nd playing of the Interschools, as they lead Paarl Gimnasium 10 points to 7 and 1 try apiece.